It's important for me to that what I do have an audience. I don't want to do it all by myself and like a painter who doesn't care if anyone sees it. I want people to see what I do.
Do you practice dance?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I buy a little home video camera. And so if I do something interesting, or with my arm or with my feet or my head or something, then I turn on the tape and tape a little bit of it and look back later and see if it looks good. My parents aren't American, they're from Scotland. And so my upbringing was as someone who was in a foreign country. They would always tell me, look at the way these Americans do this. Isn't this a little bit odd? They always saw things as foreigners. And I think they kind of taught me to see things that way as well. It's nice though. I think in a way it's a slight advantage. I've been working with an American theater director, Bob Wilson. And I've agreed to do music for some sections of this long theater piece of his called The Civil Wars. In some sections I'll do just music, and others it'll be more of a collaboration where I might get involved with some of the directing. And we worked together in Japan last month with Japanese actors, and I worked with Japanese musicians. And that was pretty interesting, although it wasn't finished. It was only some workshops and rehearsals. But it looked quite beautiful. I think at the moment I like the East because it's so very different than Europe or America. And yet they seem to have solved the problems and found very different solutions to the problems of living, or the various questions that people might ask themselves. They seem to have very different answers to them than people in the West have. That seems kind of interesting. Everything seems to be different. The way they build a chair is different, and the way that they collect garbage is different. The size of glasses are different. So it's nice when everything's different and not just this silverware is slightly better or a different shape. It's completely different from top to bottom. The one thing that is unique about the United States is that there are many different races living in the same country, and people from many different continents and cultures, forced to live in the same cities, in the same country. They don't always get along, but they're forced to live in the same area. That makes some terrible things happen, and it makes some interesting things happen also.
Have you ever thought about living somewhere else than America?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where?
I'm not sure. I thought maybe Tokyo or...
Not Brussels?
Maybe. It's very nice here.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about production. Recently you've produced both B-52s and Funboy 3, who are pretty different groups from Talking Heads. Do you like working with groups that aren't like you, or why those two groups? Well, maybe considered a bit more poppy?
I think I like working with groups that are not like me. And I'd rather be used as a pair of ears than to try and get something that sounds like Talking Heads. I suppose everyone wants to do that at some point. And it was, I guess, the time when we thought we should take that chance. And it worked all right. I missed him sometimes, but I think it worked all right.
Is Eno a close friend of yours?
Yeah, sometimes. I haven't seen him very much lately. But we do keep in touch.
Do you think you might work again with him?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope. I don't know what it could be, but I do hope we work together sometime.
Why did you call it speaking tongues? Speaking in tongues?
Because, well, I like the phrase, and because I think that, to me, the lyrics have that kind of quality of not making logical sense, almost being a language of their own. And so I thought it kind of described the quality of the singing and the vocals.
Your songs are pretty hard to understand, actually.
I think to understand them, I guess you just have to live with them for a while. It's like a chair. You can look at it for a long time, but won't understand it. You have to sit in it to understand it. I try to sing, but it just doesn't come out that way.
It seems to come like from very deep.
I have to do that because I'm not technically a very good singer. I can't sing like a great traditional singer. Not yet, anyway. So I have to use other devices to express what I want to express. We haven't boxed ourselves in, so we don't have one specific style, I don't think. We can kind of go in lots of different directions, so I guess that means we can continue. And we don't have to play in one particular style.